All right, everybody, welcome to Kobe's Planet. That was a sample from the forthcoming album Icky Eric has put out, drops today. Track and Feel was the Dubs Near remix. We're here today with an awesome show. I got a couple special guests. First, I want to introduce my man Eric Smythe in the house.
What's up? How you doing?
So, very special day for two reasons, actually. One, it's your birthday.
It is.
Oh,
it's my
happy
birthday.
I didn't bake you a cake or bring you a present, but I can give you a fist bump.
All right. Birthday fist bump. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
And the second reasons today is so special for you is that your album drops today.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that first. I'm going to turn it over to you, let you kind of take over and tell us what to expect and what you got coming.
Yeah. So it's my fourth solo album. It's called Track and Feel, not Track and Field. So I mean, I got a remix to the song that kind of made me popular on Windsor, the Dubs in the Air song. I got a remix by my buddy Jamal Massey. He did a really good job on it. If you heard it coming in, I mean, I like it. I think he did a really good job.
I have heard his name as being somebody that's pretty talented.
In Windsor, he's one of the best guys to go to. I know he's back in the States right now for a bit. He kind of came up in Chicago. He worked with Big Sean back in the day. He's got a pretty good list of he's got a good portfolio.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Decorated resume.
Yeah, exactly. So I worked with him. He produced another track on the album too. There's one called Quiet, and I think that's one of the best songs on the album too. So I mean, he's been really good to work with. I got features from a bunch of artists up in Toronto. I got features with artists from Windsor. I produced, I think, 7 of the 13 tracks, maybe 8. Actually, it might be like more. It might be 9 of the 13 tracks. I'd have to tally it up. But a few of them, like I said, I got a beat made by Jaman. I think I got 2 made by my roommate, Samo Swan. He did 2 of them. And I'm pretty sure the rest, man, it might even be all 10 of the rest of them. There's 13 tracks. Yeah, so I'm going to put that out today, pretty much after I'm done here. So if you guys want to find it, if anybody wants to find it online, you can get me on Facebook. If you just look up Eric Smythe or just Icky Eric, the fan page, it'll be up there. Get me on Twitter. My handle is @SmytheKid, so SMYTHTHEKID. If you get it on me there today, there'll be the link. You can download it. There'll be like a zip file. Open it all up. It's the 3rd album I've had the artwork done by my buddy Zach Berjawi. He owns a company called Dark Garden Productions. And just get a chance to take a look at the album cover. It looks so classy. He's done a good job every time.
Now, going back just for a second here, you did the production yourself. You having that musical background, that ability kind of sets you apart. And I'm just wondering from like a fan's perspective, if being able to produce and then actually write and do the music yourself, does that work together in your creative genius that you can really bring everything together your way?
Well, I don't know if there's any genius involved, but it definitely, for me, it motivates me to write a little bit. If I make an instrumental and I like it,
yeah,
I'm like really hyper to get the song written. If I hear a beat that I like that I didn't make, I'll be like, man, that's a good track. I'd love to make a song to that. But if I don't own the rights to the beat, it's almost like a waste to me. For some reason, a lot of artists will do this and make mixtape songs that they can just release for promotional use. I don't like to do that. I like to own everything I make. So if I didn't make it or I don't know the guy that made it, the motivation's not quite as much there. So yeah, for me, making my beat myself and not having to go to a studio and like schedule it. Like for me, the creativity comes when it comes. So if I want to record, I literally can step 10 feet away from my bed and record because I have all the setup right there. You know what I mean? So I mean that helps the workflow a lot to be able to do it all. I can literally get out of bed, have a sip of some coffee, and sit down and start making instrumentals, write, and then jump into the booth and record it, and then sit there and mix it. It might take me a whole day, but
so you not having to go out and maybe like pay a studio all the time, having that stuff at your fingertips, and like you said, you get something creative or something that you want to do, and you can just jump in there and bang it out. Like that's got to be a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, I don't have to try and hold that thought until I can schedule something. For me, it's not even like the money of paying, because like I like going to another studio where I don't have to do the work. I prefer to just get in front of the microphone and do my thing and hear it back and be like, oh, can you do this, can you do that, instead of have to do the labor of editing. But I can't schedule something when I'm hyper to do it and I'm all ready to go and steamed up, and it's like, hey man, can you book me for like next week?
Are you a bit of a perfectionist, would you say, with your music, or are you picky with yourself? because when you're essentially fixing your own stuff, right, doing the production part, does that part benefit for you, and is that something that serves you well?
Well, I mean, you can't be a perfectionist with music because music's never perfect. You know what I mean? So like, it can't be perfect. You gotta have texture. You gotta have something in there that's imperfect to make it unique. So like, I don't know. Sometimes there are things that like I'll put it out and then I'll listen after and be like, oh, I should have changed that. I should have changed that. You just gotta let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll work on it for a day and then I'll listen to it the next day and I'll go back and I'll change it. And I've changed songs as you know, you bounce the track out of Pro Tools and I have the name. And the next one I'll have to put like the number 1 at the end to distinguish the difference between the change and the song. Well, I have ones all the way up to 8, 9. You know what I mean? Like I'll go and edit it and think it's done and bounce it out a lot of times. So yeah, I can obsess, but there's a certain point where you just gotta like, all right, it's done.
Going back to like just your hip hop history and your story as an artist. The first time I seen your name on Facebook, it wasn't a music association. I just seen Icky Eric. And that happens to be your MC handle, is that correct? So I'm just wondering, like, what's the history and where did Icky Eric kind of form or come from?
There is kind of a story. I'll try to keep it short. Basically, when I was a kid, I'll jump ahead and jump back. So I used to have a different MC name. I call myself Smite the Kid. That's why my Twitter handle is Smite the Kid.
Yeah, that's what I was.
You can't change it.
Yeah,
And I already got followers on there. I'm not going to switch it. So. For me, the title "Smite the Kid" it was supposed to sound kind of cool, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And like I felt like I was trying to wear this hat that wasn't mine, you know what I mean? Like I was trying to take on this persona, and it didn't ring true to who I really am at the core, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in a sense. Also, today's my birthday. I'm turning 29. I'm not a kid.
That's right. That's right.
So there was 2 factors in that, and I had to think of a better name that I felt like I could run with. And my mom and people that I like know, they were just like, why would you choose such a stupid name, Icky Eric? You know what I mean? I caught some criticism over it, but for me it was like when I was a kid I got picked on a lot. And it seems like to me that just sounds like something somebody would call you and they make fun of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's kind of how I identify like is like. Somebody that wasn't always given the benefit of a doubt, you know what I mean? And so like that's kind of my motivation is to try and it's why it's why I'm a fighter, why I like to box. It's just I like to kind of prove something, you know what I mean? So that was kind of like I accepted the facts. Like yeah, sure, I'm Icky Eric, but watch what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean?
And that what you said there kind of like makes a lot of sense as well. But on the other hand, it served you well because it did stick in my head as well. It's not something that like Smite the Kid, that's maybe like would be common. That's a little like unconventional.
Yeah.
And, so I think it worked for you, and it's pretty sweet.
More memorable,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Huh?
It reminds me of a Disney character, Smite the Kid.
Oh yeah, maybe I don't know. I haven't seen a Disney movie in a while, so.
We're going to go talk a little bit about Doves in the Air just because I thought that was kind of a really cool thing at the time that hit the city. Now, I guess the first part is it really had like a summer spring feel to the track.
Yeah.
It came out at the right time. Now, I've always wondered, is that something that you set up that way or did it just happen? Because it really fit.
It was a nightmare, honestly. I wrote this, I made the instrumental when I still lived in Windsor, and I didn't know what I wanted to write the song about. I felt like it had like a nostalgic kind of sense to it. And then I moved to Toronto, and then I decided that I wanted to make it about Windsor. But I would go to write it, and I'd honestly, because I had just moved away, I'd get a little bit emotional, and I couldn't put the words down. Like there was too much going on at once in my head when I tried to think about Windsor. It was just like a surge. I couldn't make sense of what I wanted to, how I felt about it, and so it took a while to cool down. You know what I mean? And so it took me a long time to write to the instrumental. Then I put it out on an album called Grounded, which came out in like 2012, I think. So like I sat on the track for a while and I put it out and people heard the song and people would tell me, I like the song, but it didn't get big, right? It was just part of an album. It wasn't on YouTube. It wasn't something you could just click and listen. You had to download it, which, there's some commitment involved, which, not everybody's going to go and do. So then I wanted to make a music video to it and I knew I was going to come to Windsor. So it was 1 year ago, pretty much exactly, that we did the music video because we came down for my birthday.
Yep.
I brought this guy, AJ Jimenez, and he's the guy that did the video. AJ is an amazing videographer. I haven't talked to him in a long time. We kind of fell off. Not so much we fell off. We didn't have an argument. He just stopped answering me after we got the video done. And I was worried about talking about it, but at this point it's just whatever. It is what it is, I couldn't get a hold of him for months. And I know his turnaround would be like a week sometimes. He could do a video
Yeah.
like that. And I know he was busy, but I just wanted an answer. You know what I mean? Like, just tell me what's going on, you know? Because we had worked out a deal, you know, and I had built him a shoulder mount for his camera and stuff. And, you know, and I just kind of, I held up my end and he didn't uphold his, and I was mad. And I didn't get it. And then one day I made a phone call. I was on my way home from work. I had a bad day, and I'm driving. These people are getting in my way in the road, and like, an idiot over here. And all of a sudden it popped into my head. I think the song came on in my phone, like on shuffle. And I was like, oh, and by the way, where's this guy? And I just decided to call him right then and there. And I left a message, and it wasn't a very nice message. And I got my video 2 days later. He got the message, and apparently was like, oh, I guess he's really mad. And he sent me the video. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, immediately not angry anymore. I was like, well, he did a good job.
He clearly did it. It really touched me in a way that it represented and served an anthem or a banner well for Windsor. And what I really liked about that track was that of all the hip hop tracks and artists that have come from the city, I don't think we've had that anthem or that banger that's strictly about us. And like just the lyrics that you used were relatable for myself. I can only speak for me. Like, I could feel all that what you said because I experienced it in my own way. So it was like a track for everybody. Is that something that you wanted to do, or did you just share your own personal story and that kind of just happened?
Well, like, I tried to like think about, you know, it was part of it was like, you know, what how do other people view the city too? Because the way I viewed it is definitely not how everybody else is. You know, how I spent my experience in high school is not how everybody spent their experience in high school. How my experience in university or just with my friends, the way I party, it is different. You know what I mean? Than necessarily what everybody else would do. So I tried to hit like a wider scope. You know what I mean? Than just what I would necessarily perceive it as. That was part of it, and then I think it was a cocktail of both. You know what I mean?
And it was like something that everybody was celebrating. It wasn't like one kind of genre of people. It was like, you know, everybody was enjoying this thing, and all of a sudden we had our own song, and it was like, you know, you'd see like, you know, senior citizens like throwing them up. You know, and I just really liked that, and I thought, what a wonderful way to bring us together, because Windsor gets this. At times can get this bad rap and reputation. Everyone's always talking trash about Windsor, and I love this city. And when you put that song out, I was like, that's what we needed. That kind of brought us back together for a minute, so everyone could celebrate the good things, you know?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. I had ladies on, like, this lady, she was in, like, she was old enough to be my grandma, and she commented on my video and was like, oh, I'm like really proud of you and stuff. It's really cool. I was like, oh man, like, it was so neat to see. And my buddy was working at Sears at the time. He was working with all the technicians. This is a group of guys that they're about my dad's age, you know, bunch of old dudes, and they're all throwing not old, you know, sorry, not old, older than me.
Yeah.
But they're all throwing them up in this big picture. This big picture is like, I don't know, there's 20 something of these older guys, and it's like, you know, that's not your hip hop, you know, crowd really, right? And they all got behind it. I was blown away. I didn't think it was gonna have the impact it had.
Over 60,000 views. It happened real quick, and you know, it was pretty amazing thing that you did for everyone. The last question I have about the video was, were the people that you shot behind you and celebrating, not celebrating, but you know,
that was my birthday party.
So these were personal friends. So you put your team in that video kind of thing? Yeah,
I tried to. Not everybody came on time. We filmed, and then a lot of my friends showed up really late, as my friends do. So I got whoever was on their P's and Q's that day, whoever showed up on time. So, you know, not like I had Breaks. Jay Breaks came, and he came too late. It was just he just missed it. So there's a lot of people there that didn't make it into the video. I was kind of upset about that. Yeah, and I was upset about that. But you know, we got whatever we could in.
Now, you did something for the city, and you know, certainly a positive thing. And there is one thing that goes on in this city that I don't like very much. We're going to talk about that real quick. And it's about this slanderous website called The Dirty. I even looked into starting a petition to try to get like a judge to look at this as, you know, slander to the point of where it can destroy a career or a life, because people are saying things about somebody online. It's there on Google. You can't get rid of it. They can write anything they want about you and just crush you, and there's no fact to it. It's like character assassination behind the handle of anonymous on a keyboard, which is like, you couldn't be a bigger coward.
You know?
Like, if you're putting people on the computer and under the name anonymous, you know, you got to look at yourself.
That's a long word. Every single digit you press to spell the word anonymous is just one more step you take towards being a punk.
That's it. That's it. So sometimes I'll go on there periodically and look, and part of the sad thing about this website is not just the poster, but the people that come on and either they're just trashing each other. They're going like it's just
they argue with each other.
These are adults cyberbullying each other. You know what I mean? So I don't see guys like you on there. Like you're a solid guy. You're a good person. You're real. And you ended up on that website. Now you had a lot of supporters though on the comment section. They came to your aid. I know I did. And just talk a little bit about that and how that made you feel and what you did kind of going forward with it.
Well, I know what happened was there was another local rapper. I'm not gonna say his name. He said something. He made some post about Windsor, and he tried to make the whole thing like really cheery and happy. And there's just this one sentence in the middle where he poked at me and called me a clown or something like that. And like he tagged like my whole team in it. He tagged like guys that I work with. He tagged my buddy Greedy. He tagged he tagged my little brother Chris. He tagged Chris Chase. And it's like, he's not my actual little brother, but that's like my little brother. And he tagged him in this, and he's calling me a clown. All these people are untagging themselves, telling him, don't tag me a crowd. My DJ Thor, he tagged him in it. And you're calling me a clown. Thor did my show when I did the first show after the video came out of Voodoo. We packed the house. That's my DJ. He's every show I've done. If he couldn't be there, it was a thing where it's like, oh, that sucks. My DJ can't be there, and they're tagging him in it. Like, come on, man. And so, like, a lot of people were backlashing about it, and they created this little thing on Facebook where people are kind of blah blah blah, and mostly it was just people telling this guy to screw off,
Yeah.
And then I'd say like 2 days later, this thing pops up on the Dirty, and it's this thing about me, and they're making fun of me, and I thought it might have been him. He categorically denied the whole thing. I don't know. At this point, he denied it so much that I almost believe him. Maybe it was one of his fans.
Because the reality is you don't know, right?
Yeah,
like,
I don't exactly.
People can speculate things, and that's the bad part about this site is that no one's taking ownership. It could be your ex, it could be an old friend. Like it's such a punk move to put someone on blast and then not put a face to it and own that. So I'm just glad you're able to get that worked out. And the good thing about those things are, 10 more pop every day, so it just gets buried to the back. Yeah.
Well, I Googled my name the other day, and I think that slander thing was just as popular as my video now. So, I mean, but the thing is, that's the thing is controversy sells. It keeps me relevant in a way, so it's almost like a favor to me. I saw people being like, oh, he did this himself because his 15 minutes of fame were up. Well, somebody on there, that the article calls me like a pedophile and crap. Like, these are things nobody's ever accused me of. Nobody has ever made any sort of accusation of me being, any of the things that it accuses me of.
Right.
Anything in there. Says that I was 32 or something like that. I literally turned 29 today. You know what I mean? So, and it said that everything it said about me was just like completely ridiculous to the point where I wasn't even worried about people taking it seriously. Like I saw it and I was like,
yeah.
It's like you could have made this believable a bit, and it would have bothered me more, but it has
the same set of nonsense for each person right there. A pedophile, they have STDs.
Every one of these articles on that website is the same thing. Yeah. And I had to look up. They said the DRD. I didn't even know what that meant. It means Dennis Rodman disease.
Oh,
I had
to look it up. I was wondering that too.
It's specific to that website.
Lingo.
Yeah, I didn't know what it meant.
I
was like, what is that? Dirty rotten disease? I looked it up, and it was Dennis Rodman. I was like, okay, that's funny, I guess, but it's like, it's like a theme on that website, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We won't sweat the small stuff. I just wanted to get that out of the way, and I'm gonna go on record personally and tell you that this man is not a pedophile.
Like I said, nobody has ever accused me of anything, unclassy like that ever.
Right.
I get along with everybody, so I was blown away to see that on there.
Well, you know what they say, haters gonna hate, right?
Yeah.
So next up for you, something important. I know that you're doing. Probably music's gonna have to take a little bit of a backseat. You have a competitive fight coming up. It's your first boxing match, training out of Sully's in Toronto.
Yeah.
Oldest boxing gym in Canada, I believe.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Billy Grant's your coach.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your first boxing fight and what's going on with that.
Well, yeah, I used to train in kickboxing when I was younger, when I was like 12. I used to train at Super Kicks on Ottawa Street. My trainer was Tom Downing. Rest in peace.
I remember that club.
Yeah. Tom passed away in like 2008. He was kind of like a second dad to me. Like, we were really close. He taught me a lot. And a little fighting too, but about life in general. You know, he made me feel more comfortable walking down the street. You know. And when I came to him, it was a time in my life where I was getting bullied a lot. Like I mentioned before, you know, I was in grade school, I got picked on a lot.
Yeah.
So that was a life-changing decision, you know, to go there. So I would try to fight in Michigan and stuff. We'd go over there. There wouldn't be anybody my weight. Really disappointed, but you know, it was a really good team to be on. It was a really fun experience. And then after that, you know, things kind of fell apart. Me and him actually had a little falling out, and then we started talking again, and then I moved away to BC, and I started fighting at an MMA gym, training at an MMA gym out there called Toshido, which is actually where Rory McDonald went. He's a UFC fighter. He was there at the same time.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it, actually.
Yeah, he was there, like, when I was training. He hadn't made it there yet, you know what I mean? And, yeah, I was doing that for a bit. I was doing construction. I came back, went to university, and I didn't really have a lot of time to train, so I did boxing with Greg Price a little bit here in Windsor. But
Greg's a good guy.
Oh, great trainer too, man. And he'll practice what he preaches. He'll get right in the ring with you and punch you right in your head.
Tough dude.
Yeah, he's an older guy. He's got a big belly on him, and you wouldn't think you'd see it coming. His legs are right underneath him everywhere he goes. Yeah. He'll chase you down in that
short
ring.
Uppercut.
He'll get you with anything he wants to, man. And he can't even extend his left arm all the way out because he tore his bicep. And with his arm, we checked the reach. I got like that much reach on him. He still puts his jab on me. He's good, yeah.
So when is the fight? And I believe it's 159.
Yeah, I should be fighting at 159. We'll see how it goes. I'm still cutting weight.
Is it booked? Is it a done deal, or is this tentative for?
It's tentative. I know I'm fighting in the Brampton Cup in January.
Oh, nice. That's
a
tournament. A cool tournament.
Yeah, and then but my coach wants me to take a fight before that. I'm coaching with Billy Grant. Or working with Billy Grant. He was Andrew Cooner's coach.
Yeah.
Took him to the Olympics. So I was talking to Andrew.
He's an accomplished guy.
Oh yeah. I was talking to Andrew because he trains at another gym I go to. I go to Bloor Boxing and Fitness also. But it's not really a gym geared towards competition. So I was in there talking to Cooner, who's like, you know, a trainer there. And I was telling him I want to fight, and he was like, well, you know, I was thinking about going to a place called Stockyards. Another good gym. We go there and train with those guys sometimes. And he said, you know, my old coach that brought me to the Olympics is at Sully's. Go there. And I was like, all right.
He's legit. That's it.
Yeah, and Billy, he knows the sport in and out like the back of his hand. You know, he's not going to give you any undeserved affection. He's a hardcore kind of guy, which is exactly what I need because I don't need anybody helping me make mistakes for myself or you know, excuses for myself. You know, he'll get on you. So I think I'm in the right spot, you know. So I'm hoping, I'm pretty hopeful I'll get the W on my first bout. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure the other guys working just as hard.
That's it. And 29, first fight. So this is you know, for
Older
anybody
fighter.
that wants to get out there and do this thing right now. You know, it don't matter, you know, what your experience level is at, what your age is. If you got the motivation and drive to get in there and train, and you want to do it, you can fight.
I don't feel old, you know. So I
You
feel
don't
like
look
I still
old.
got a few left in me. But yeah, I was yesterday. I was training with Chucky Mady. He's a professional MMA fighter. I was over at his dad's place at Mady's, and we were doing a little training. He's a professional fighter, you know, and he's turning 26. I mean, he's been at it for, you know, a long time. He's been training more consistently than I have, that's for sure, you know what I mean? But it's like, you know, he's just as good as he was or better than he was when he was younger, you know. He's strong as hell and you know, and all that. It's like, I'm not going to let age be a factor for me until I'm too old to walk right.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in that fight.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for joining us today. Track and Field drops today. Get at Icky Eric on Twitter, Facebook. We'll go over those handles again at the end of the show. Want to check in with the beautiful Ashley Nicole. She is the producer and host of Beyond Incredible.
Yep.
And today we're gonna talk about a pilot, a forthcoming show.
Yeah.
She's got a great idea. It hasn't been defined in terms of what the show is going to be titled. Basically, we're going to talk about and look at the other side of the media in situations such as the teachers' strike at the University of Windsor.
Absolutely.
Not just what the Windsor Star tells us, because we know that they can be pretty one-sided. We want to give you the inside info.
Well, there's a lot going on, right? Like, I mean, there's students, like when a student goes to university, they have to pay a lot of money. They don't get reimbursed for that. When the teachers go on strike and they can't be taught, they don't get reimbursed for that. Not only that, they go on placements. When they get brought somewhere, like let's use social workers for an example. So say that you're going into school to be a social worker. They put you on a placement. And the people that are running the other companies, they have to hire extra people just so that these students can have somebody to shadow. You know what I mean? So when they go on strike, they're not allowed to go to their placements. So not only are these companies, you know, hiring extra people, they're not getting the students, and they're not able to learn this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that goes into it. It's a big, huge snowball effect, and the only thing that the Windsor Star is publishing is, hey, this person just donated $10 million for grants.
So do you think that's a little bit of like a cover, right? You got this positive, and it's true. I seen that article. Someone up 10 million to the University of Windsor. Meanwhile, these co-op placements kids are not even be able to go do their placements, and they're paying big money to be there.
They are.
When looking at like an elementary or secondary setting, you know, the strike situation is also bad.
Yeah.
But when kids are paying to be there, should these schools not have a platform set up as a backup to be at least to be able to do the co-op piece?
Absolutely, I absolutely think they should. You know, they're put on placement for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, they're there to learn. That's their careers. They're going to school. They're working their butts off to get these careers. So for them to not even be able to go to their placement and learn from these professionals, you know, it's out of control. It's ridiculous.
So the Windsor Star in general, you know, they've been really hard on the teachers, even the support staff. I remember one year it was contract time, and they put out attendance numbers for staff, like kind of tacky at times, and it's like almost, you know, why do they take this one-sided approach? Like, what's the deal with that?
I don't know, but you know what? Everybody has the right to their opinion, you know what I mean? Like, if the teachers want to go on strike, then by all means, go on strike, but there's got to be, like you were saying, something set up, you know what I mean? And there's a lot more to it than the Windsor Star Post. So what I want to do is we're going to do a 20-minute documentary, maybe half an hour long documentary, and I want to get the dirty details. Not, I don't mean to say
not like
dirty,
the dirty,
but not the dirty, like
someone might call you a
but
pedophile.
like exactly. But yeah, I'm not a pedophile, okay? But yeah, no, we want to get the dirty details of like the information that's not being published. You know, the student's perspective. You know what I mean? These people who are meant to go on placements that can't go to placements. Even the companies who are hiring extra people so that the placements can shadow them, you know. Like, I was going to talk about the nurses, but, you know, we do need more healthcare. So I'm not going to complain about that one, but still, you know what I mean? Like,
so essentially you're going to bring us the other perspective,
which
I think we
absolutely.
need, because it's only ever reported by one side. So it gives
Absolutely.
people the option of
To what
forming
side
their
are
own
they on,
opinion
right?
based
Yeah.
on all the facts and evidence.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes our opinion can be shaped or manipulated by the media. And we're going to let Eric share for a second on his experience. He's a University of Windsor grad. I know you said a couple things over there about, you know, you kind of helped teach one of the classes for production. Like, does any of this stuff resonate with you, or were you affected by this at school?
Well, I was a TA, and the strike didn't happen when I was doing that. I was running sound labs for this class called Sound and Media, and yeah, that was all that was, and I was teaching Pro Tools sessions and stuff like that. But I had a placement too. I was doing like what you call independent study at Walkerville, and I'd go in and record the
high
bands.
school?
Yeah. Because they have a lot of like musicians, they have an arts program.
They have a huge program.
Yeah, so I'd go in there and I'd record the wind section, I'd record the guitar classes, I'd set up microphones and record
Pretty
them.
awesome opportunity.
It was really cool.
Cool.
I had to get, all sorts of, clearances to get in there, TB test, police clearance, all that, you know what I mean? And I got in there, and then it was looking like there was going to be a strike, and I was like, man,
so that would have been
and then no
effective.
placement,
it didn't
right? You
actually
wouldn't be able to
happen,
go.
though. It didn't actually happen, but I was so worried about it. And I got an A+ on the placement. It was great,
Good for you.
but yeah, there were times where I'd be ready to get to my classes. I'd picked all my classes, bought all the books, ready to go, and then they go on strike.
And that's another thing. The books, man. The books are expensive too.
And there's nothing you can do with the book after.
Exactly. You can't bring it back. You can sell it for half
Once
the
you
price.
open it, you can't.
You
Yeah.
know, like
when you're paying tuition, there's something's got to happen. Like it's a game changer.
Yeah, it's a subsidized thing too. I pay tuition and the government puts in too. I was like, where's all this money going if they all got a strike? Are they not getting paid enough? What's going on? And I personally, my opinion at the time, I was younger, we'd drive by the teachers and be like, get back to work. We just wanted our classes to be open, you know what I mean? We wanted to get it over with. The last thing I remember, the last year, I was trying to graduate, and we were worried that we weren't going to graduate. We were worried we weren't going to have our classes. We got to jump in 2 weeks after, they resolved it and everything, But I know the teachers want to make it as painful as possible when they do strike so that they can get it over with. If it's not a painful process, nothing's really going to happen. You know?
Unfortunately for the teachers, you know, especially, you know, with the public board here and the Catholic board, you know, ultimately they want to go to the negotiating table and get a CB in place that's fair.
Nobody's willing to negotiate.
At the very last step is when others are affected, like maybe you almost were.
Yeah.
So
well, I was the 1 year, but not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, going forward, we hope that, you know, these things can just get fixed so nobody else has to pay.
Yeah.
So this show itself, more will be coming. You can check out Ashley on her show, Beyond Incredible.
Absolutely.
With Knoxstrom Digital Media. You'll put a title to this show and kind of
Eventually,
redefine it. We just wanted to give a little idea. She had told me about it backstage, and I thought it was so awesome. I just wanted to get it out there. Now, real quick, Eric, do you want to give out any plugs, any thank yous, or any places that people can find your media and music?
Well, I mean, thanks to everybody that worked on the album with me, really. You know, I could start naming names, but I would miss somebody. You know, everybody that worked on my album, they know who they are. You know, all the Toronto artists and Windsor artists and everybody else, you know, in between. Yeah, if you want to find the album's released today. If you want to find it, just find me on Facebook, Icky Eric, or Eric Smythe. You can go at my page or my actual profile, whichever you want. I'll accept your friend request if you're not friends in common with the people I don't trust that put things up against me on the internet. Yeah, and then other than that, you know, find me on Twitter, at Smythe the Kid, SMYTHTHEKID. You find that on Twitter. I'll be dropping the link later on today, and yeah, download the album, check it out, man.
All right, well, thank you for sharing your thoughts, your story, and happy birthday.
Hey, thanks, man.
Lastly, Ashley, Nicole, how can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, or you can go to the Knoxstrom page. You can find me on Twitter at ElectroAshNY. And that's about it, man. Look for our YouTube channel, Knoxstrom1. You can check out our videos. Yeah, that's how people can find me.
All right, you can find my show typing in Kobe's Planet on YouTube. You can also subscribe to Knoxstrom Digital Media. My Twitter handle is @Kobe519. I want to thank my guests. I want to thank my viewers, everybody for being here, production team. Awesome show. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Mitch.
Cheers.